Battery packs, I guess, aren't new anymore, even though I've been working on them myself for the last 18 years. There's been sort of a renewed push and focus on manufacturing, right? Our ability to build in America, our ability to build at scale and at cost that's actually gonna help this market.
Transitioning to electric vehicles is really important. We've already accomplished so much with vehicle design and charging infrastructure, but there are still barriers to full electrification, one of which is manufacturing enough batteries that are affordable, safe, and domestically produced. We're about to talk to Dustin, the CEO of Estes, about how their team is solving the problem. This is The Art of Building.
Hey everybody, I'm Tyler Mincey, one of the co-founders and GPs here at Baukunst. Today I'm sitting down with Dustin, the CEO of Estes.
Hi Tyler, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Maybe just to start with, explain what is Estes?
What is Estes? Well, I think the best way to describe Estes, frankly, is we are an advanced manufacturing technology company. So what we're doing is developing a manufacturing platform. It leverages a new novel lightweight alloy. There's some giga-forming processes associated with it, as well as some new coating processes really specific to the alloy. And with this manufacturing platform, we basically have created something that we can dive into any number of electrification markets. And so our first product that Estes is going to be taking to our customers is a high-voltage battery system. And that's really going to be focused on the commercial vehicle markets. So commercial vehicle markets for Estes, that's trucks, buses, trains, boats, the electrify anything kind of movement, certainly physical AI, robotics, robo-taxis, that kind of stuff. So anything that's outside of a passenger car, we want to empower with an exceptional system, and we think we've got the right way to do it.
Why is it such an important moment for there to be a new battery pack company in the world today?
Battery packs, I guess, aren't new anymore, even though I've been working on them myself for the last 18 years. So it's probably important to reflect on the state of the market right now. It's actually in a tough spot. All right, so it's been through its boom cycle. Right, there's always sort of a bust cycle that happens with a lot of technology. Certainly with battery, these last couple of years have been a difficult spot. And sort of in line with that, which is really interesting, there's been sort of a renewed push and focus on manufacturing. Right, our ability to build in America, our ability to build at scale and at cost that's actually gonna help this market. And so, through this downturn, I think we've been maybe seeing some good things happening on the passenger car side. All right, you can look outside. There's Teslas across the street right there here in California. There's been some good inroads, but on the commercial truck side, I have to say it's been frustrating. We've been working on this for a long time. I've personally been working on this for a long time, and we just haven't made the progress that we really should have by now. So Estes is here to basically bring a third generation approach to this challenge while the market is finding its footing. And we think that on the horizon, really just on the other side of this valley that we're all in right now, is a huge opportunity.
Maybe when you're kind of at the cocktail party level or family reunion, how do you talk to people about why they should care about electrification and how Estes is helping that along?
Good question there. Maybe we can all relate to this. It's the first couple of weeks of COVID, actually, not to take us back there. But I think we can all probably remember sitting in our living rooms when most of the world was in their living room, looking outside and realizing how quiet things became and how clear-skied things became. And for me, reflecting in that moment, it was sort of wait, this is the point, right? Let's get to a place where we're not surrounded by so much noise, so much pollution. And it was just like a glimpse into the future, I think, at that moment. So why care? I think just the general well-being of you, your loved ones, the future of your loved ones or the planet, I think, is one reason that we all want to electrify.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting over so many hurdles about helping people understand the benefits of electric vehicles, having vehicle designs that people actually want to buy and can afford. But even if you get over those two hurdles, you have to still be able to build them too. And there's really just some fundamental impediments to being able to do that today.
Absolutely. Yeah, so manufacturing in the United States comes with its set of challenges. And certainly when you think about the most expensive component in an electric vehicle, which is the battery system, there's really two KPIs. One is dollar per kilowatt hour and one is watt hour per kilogram. That's the cost efficiency of the battery pack, and that's the sort of like the mass efficiency, or how much energy can you squeeze into the box and how light can that box be. Those two elements are really, really difficult to dial, and they're difficult to dial until you're at scale. And for a market that's constantly trying to get itself to scale, they're two difficult things to find the solution to. And so, we created Estes. Again, Estes stands for Exceptional Systems That Efficiently Scale. What we're trying to do is bring a system that creates a new benchmark for cost performance on battery systems, but does so in as capital efficient ways you can possibly do it. And that's the challenge we've set upon ourselves.
Let's go back in a time machine a little bit too. I'd love to hear more about your personal and professional background and how your experiences in the past kind of connected to both like the insight and your ability to be able to build Estes today.
43 years old. I've been doing this for a while now. I actually grew up in the Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. Ended up going to college at University of Colorado in Boulder, where I took a degree in mechanical engineering. And from there, I pretty much knew I wanted to do something in automotive for different reasons than decarbonization, but just because that's kind of the ultimate machine when you're wanting to build machines.
Because cars are cool.
Cars are cool, yeah. I mean, nobody can argue that, right? Finished school in 2003, and my first job out of school was with Honda Research and Development. That was actually in Columbus, Ohio. So I packed up, moved to Columbus, Ohio to take my dream job, and absolutely incredible. I was very, very fortunate for that to be like my first job out of school, because I'd say the technical experts at that company, right, they all effectively came in from Japan, and the way that they work with you is very like at elbow, late at night, like let's all work an 18-hour day together and let's talk about how to improve like to the last millimeter this little detail here. I transferred within Honda to the studio in Los Angeles, where I was there for about 2 years. Also knew that I wanted more. I wanted to make a bigger impact. What's going to be next? So it was about 2006 when I got an email, with a link to a YouTube video of Tesla Roadster, that bright red one from a long time ago. From that moment, I was like, "That's incredible! I had no idea you could do this as electric. Is this real?" So of course, went to the website, found a job opening that actually looked like something that was something I could do, and wrote an email. 2 days later, I was on the phone with the director of engineering, and 2 weeks later, I was moving up to San Francisco. Got to Tesla, surrounded by brilliant people, the most brilliant people I've ever had the pleasure of working with. They taught me, I guess, a new problem that was out there to solve, which is this concept of decarbonization, which again to me was new at the time. At Tesla, I would say there was a number of challenges building an electric car from scratch, but it was apparent to me that the battery system was that was where to go. That was the ultimate optimization problem. So jumped into it, and just that basically became like my calling, I guess. As things go, 9 years later, it was time to find a new challenge. So I took some time off, and while I was on a sabbatical, it was like a 4-month sabbatical, I actually came across someone I'd worked with in the early days at Tesla in the finance department. His name's Ryan Popple. Went and had one of those fateful coffee discussions at Coupa Cafe in Palo Alto. Talked me into jumping on board and refocusing away from Tesla, passenger car, luxury vehicles into the commercial market that really could serve like everybody. Ended up spending the next 8.5 years of my career with Proterra. The battery system we ended up developing for a transit bus ended up being very useful to other heavy duty vehicles. So soon our phones started ringing from players all around the world that wanted to electrify their Class 8 or Class 7 or Class 6 vehicles. And it was pretty quick, Ryan and I knew okay, there's a business here. Yeah. We should actually probably focus on this as well. We ended up taking an investment from Daimler at the time, and they engaged with us on a school bus project, on a delivery van project. And from there, I think our order book ended up growing from our first customer all the way to 14 unique different customers and 24 different vehicles.
Yeah, I think that's almost maybe the lesser known story about Proterra. I think maybe most people are familiar with the electric bus line, but they don't really know the fact that you effectively stood up a battery tier 1 inside the company at first to serve the buses, but then ended up being so successful that you had this huge book of other customers externally.
Absolutely, right. So yeah, our bus hit the market and it had 5 times the amount of energy as any other electric bus on the market. And so it was a a great way to raise our hand and say, look, this can be done. And when they came in, they saw the product, the demand really spiked pretty quickly.
What was the kind of spark of inspiration or the seed of the idea that made you like really snap to the idea of like, oh, this is another company? Was it the feeling that you were kind of onto something at Proterra that really didn't like get to full fruition, or there was, I think it's more than that. There were actually some other ideas on the kind of the technology side and how to architect these power systems as well that kind of all came together. But yeah,
Sure.
can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know that it was like a spark, but a lot of things did sort of come together at a moment. Right, so when you're dealing with batteries, there's an obsession with cost and there's an obsession with energy densities. Before batteries, I had my own obsession with metals, steel, aluminum, whatever. Magnesium was also something that was on my plate from the very beginning in college. I can still remember the first piece of magnesium I held in the machine shop. There was always a desire to move towards lighter materials, towards decarbonizable materials. And obviously aluminum's done phenomenal things in that regard. But magnesium sort of is this great hope that someday it can be the infinite resource material, the ultimate and lightweighting capability.
Can you talk more about the kind of detailed aspects of the battery system that you're developing too? Like, how is it different than other things that are out there in the world today? I think there's a lot of clever decisions you've been making as a team, kind of to connect the kind of product design of what the market needs around the kind of technology building blocks.
So I guess the first thing to say, and it can be a bit cliche, is we've taken a very first principled approach to this, right? And so that's the first thing anybody should do when they're going to go develop a new product, of course. But we really wanted to look at a battery system and say, okay, you want it light, you want it cheap, you want it reliable. Just take it to the absolute limit of simplification, right? And what is it? Complex is easy, simple is hard, right? So to make something simple is actually really hard to do. And that is really like the approach that we decided to take at Estes. Mm-hmm. A typical battery system might have on the order of 150, 200, 250 components on its bill of materials. Our ceiling is 50, right? We do not want to exceed 50 components in the battery. And that's where we're starting, right? We obviously want to go even further than that, and I think there's some great opportunities to do that. But we wanted to architect a system that was just as simple as you could possibly make it. But to do that, mm-hmm. You need to innovate in materials. You need to innovate in metal forming, metal coating. And that is really what's become the platform of the business now, which is we're developing this manufacturing capability that will work really well in battery systems, but once we've mastered the metal, once we've mastered it in pack form, we think it's going to be useful in other markets as well.
Yep. And you're taking an approach to battery enclosures that might be familiar to other people in the automotive market of kind of like unibody chassis, or maybe people might have seen from other like consumer electronics products in the past as well too, right?
Yeah, great point. So there is a theme across all manufacturers right now to drive towards cell to pack, right? That's the way of getting rid of modules and unnecessary connections and cost and mass and whatnot. And we're trying to take that to like the next degree, as it were. Probably most exciting about our product, or really the biggest component, is the skin of the product, right? It's a new alloy. The way that you can make that alloy is, you can't make it today, right? We have to build a machine that can actually form it. But the reason we want to do it is not just to be working with a new metal or new alloy. It's really because it enables us to delete so many components in the battery pack. So you might have a cooling system in a battery pack that's got tubes and films and joints and brazed fittings and connectors and quick connects, ways to go from the outside of the pack to the inside of the pack. You might also have the shell of the battery, which is intended to protect it environmentally and structurally. We've just basically taken the approach of let's make that all one part. And in doing so, we dramatically improve our capability to make a smaller battery, a lighter battery, a safer battery, and above all, I would say, as a lower cost battery system.
Yeah. And you've really tried to hit a sweet spot where you're designing a modular system, right? Where there's kind of an atomic unit of each of those batteries that you can scale up for different vehicle platforms to kind of adjust for the full range of the vehicle that you need, but instill in kind of with a building block that where you can achieve the economies of scale for each one of those.
Absolutely. So one of the best ways to reduce the cost of an electric vehicle is to make sure you're not putting too much battery on board, right? You want to right size your energy. And so what we challenged ourselves with is like, let's come up with the right Lego block, if you will, so that the system could scale by one battery pack at a time. And that's what we came up with, is a full voltage, fully scalable, small building block that can achieve very competitive cost points. Now there's another layer of that Lego block, which is stacking the Legos. And as we stack the Legos, our energy density levels and our cost points improve even further. And so we do have the capability for these to be what we call block stackable, which means you don't need external structure and cost and mass and more engineering work to happen to couple the batteries together. Ours are actually able to couple together permanently through internal connection that we're making with these blocks.
Because you guys aren't building your own cells either, so this whole system is designed to be able to kind of incorporate various chemistries that might be available over time or might be better suited for different applications.
That's right. Yeah, that's an interesting distinction, or an important distinction, I should say, for our business. What we actually like the capability to do is work with different form factors, work with different chemistries. We like to be able to work with the best cells, regardless of who's making them. Form a very close partnership with them, and then of course integrate those cells into awesome battery packs.
What would you describe as being your superpower as a founder?
My superpower? Good question. Probably stamina. Right? Yeah, I would definitely call it stamina. I think, yeah, like battery engineers are cut from a different cloth, right? We're sort of forged in the crucible of crisis. And it sort of becomes who you are to a degree. But what does it take, right, to do it for 18 years? I was at dinner the other night and got to see Drew Baglino. He's a former leader at Tesla, and I worked with him in the early days. And he's like, man, so you're doing batteries at Tesla, did batteries at Proterra. He's like, you want to go do them again? He's like, that's just a flogging, man. If there's any superpower that's gotten me from that moment to today, it's stamina.
Yeah. And what drives you? How would you describe the world and how it's going to be different if Estes succeeds?
Yeah, well, gosh, I hope Estes is my last venture. I hope I get to do this for a long time and make a huge impact. But when it's all over, I would just really like to see electric trucks and buses and boats and trains everywhere, right? Seeing Teslas on the road is always gratifying. Seeing Proterra buses when I'm at the airport and getting shuttled to a terminal, very gratifying. But I could still stand at my window in my apartment, look outside and ask, where are all the electric trucks, right? They're just not there yet. So that is the impact that I think we all want to see, where this technology is just proliferated. Yes.
And curious, it's kind of an abstract question, but curious, what does the art of building mean to you?
I guess when I think of art of building in the context of building a business, it really is this architectural, creative side of it, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. That's been probably the most rewarding side of this first year of Estes, is really figuring out who are the right people in the right places, what's the culture we want to build to grow that, and what are the products that we're going to focus on together. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's kind of it's a creative architectural process, and that's the art of building for me.
So what advice would you give to other founders that are just starting their company building journey?
It's so funny because I was just having a conversation with a very close friend of mine on this topic. First bit of advice I gave him was just go do it. You have to do it. The other thing I would say, and this has been the single biggest tool that I've had, is going to be my network, right? So it's going to coffee with you. And sitting down and asking the dumb questions. Just basic stuff, right? What's the first swipe of my credit card to found a company, right? If you're surrounded by the right people, you've got a good network, just make sure you tap them at every step of the way, because what I've also found is that people are really excited to help. And that's been a nice, reassuring thing as well.
Well, Dustin, thanks so much for sitting down with me today. This was an amazing conversation. Thank you for sharing all the stories about your background and how they connect to the amazing work you're doing at Estes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's my honor. Appreciate it. If you'd like to learn more about our business or follow along the journey that we're on here with Baukunst and our other investors, you can find us on LinkedIn. Otherwise, go to our website at estes.energy. That's ESTES.energy.